DeSantis is really going after Disney and the far-left cultural push towards children in schools by signing the Stop Woke Act and taking secret government tax exemption status away from Disney.
Last year, I did an investigative report on Disney where I exposed their critical race theory program. I'm going to read a couple of their principles they're promoting. The Disney executive said, quote, "The U.S. has, quote, a long history of systemic racism and transphobia. It encouraged white employees to do a white privilege checklist and a white fragility psychological test."
What exactly does this all mean? What are both sides thinking? What is the truth that mainstream media refuses to be at least honest about? That's what we're going to talk about today in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the show. Hey everybody, what's going on? God bless you. I hope you're having a good day and I hope you have a great weekend. I want to talk about the Disney losing government status. They had some sort of interesting deal that we'll talk about and get into. But first, I want to get into what Ron DeSantis is thinking and what millions of people are thinking. I know a lot of my audience already knows. I'll tell my opinion afterwards, but there's a lot of misinformation in the media. They're just like, don't say gay. He hates gay people. It's all about this and that. But I think Christopher Rufo does a great job explaining it because Ron DeSantis recently signed something called the Stop Woke Act. And Christopher explains what they're teaching to the schools. And if you're a left winger, if you're somebody who doesn't like Ron DeSantis or whatever, that's on you. I just want to have a real conversation about it because this is the issue nowadays. It's not just that people disagree with each other, but you have the media, etc., just framing things dishonestly and then trying to act as if you're not even allowed to disagree with them. But this is really what people are thinking when they're signing anti-critical race theory, etc. type legislation. So just take a listen. This is a great clip. I hope you enjoy it.
I don't want my kids being told that they're either forever doomed to feel guilt and shame because of their skin color or have no opportunity and no possibility of success in the United States. I look around this room, I see a room that looks a lot like the country. This isn't what the New York Times says it is. It's not certainly what the Washington Post says it is. We believe that this country, out of many, won. And critical race theory takes that American formula and turns it on its head. It says out of one, many. And we're going to pit people who look differently from each other against each other. I've reported in schools where, again, students are segregated on the basis of race. How many of you want that? I've reported on schools where they're teaching kids as young as 7 and 8 years old that if they're white, male, and heterosexual, they are fundamentally oppressive and they have to atone for the sin of their birth. How many of you want that? And how many of you, people who come from all over the world, racial minorities, including my own wife, my own children, would like to be told that this country is out to get you, wants to punish you, and wants to make sure that you have no possibility of success? How many of you want that? And so I think it's a great testament to not only the legislators in Florida, but the greatest governor in the country right now standing up to these people. He stood up to the lies. He stood up to the ideologues. He stood up to some of the big corporations because he's on your side and he's not going to back down. And I'd like to close with something I think is equally important. We're all here because we care about schools. But as adults, we should care also about the workplace. And there's a company here in the state of Florida that has been promoting critical race theory more than any other company in the country. You might have heard of this company. It's called Walt Disney. Last year, I did an investigative report on Disney where I exposed their critical race theory program. I'm going to read a couple of their principles they're promoting. The Disney executive said, quote, "The U.S. has, quote, a long history of systemic racism and transphobia. It encouraged white employees to do a white privilege checklist and a white fragility psychological test. These tests are not psychological tests that you would see in a legitimate sense, but they automatically assume your guilt. If you're white, you have white fragility. You have white privilege. No matter where you come from, no matter what your circumstances." Disney also told employees that, quote, "individualism, timeliness, and competition are, quote, white dominant values that should be rejected." This is not only absurd. Individualism is not exclusively for people of any race. And it's extremely patronizing, and I'm going to say it, racist, to suggest that people of color can't show up on time and aren't individuals. In some of their materials, they also promoted that, and this is going to be hard to believe, but it's true. I have it on my website for the media that wants to fact check this, that white babies, quote, discriminate against other races and become full-blown racists by age 4. And in closing, Disney tells its employees to reject the principle of equality, which means equal treatment, and embrace the principle of equity, which means equal outcomes. Now, how many of you had families escape from communist countries? How does equity and equal outcomes turn out in reality? It turns out into a nightmare, poverty, starvation, gulags, and killing of innocent people. We're in the very initial stages down a very dark path, and thankfully the legislators of Florida had said, not in this state, not in this country. And I'd like to close with a direct message to the CEO of Disney, Bob Chapek. This program called Reimagine Tomorrow is not only morally wrong, it is now illegal in the state of Florida. And so we're going to give you the weekend to make some adjustments to immediately abolish this program, because on Monday, if this is still part of Disney's Human Resources program, there will be consequences. God bless Florida, God bless Governor Ron DeSantis, and God bless all of you.
Was a great speech. Just letting you guys know, I understand that was a little louder, a little quieter. My voice is going to be louder. I couldn't get the volume. I just found that on Twitter. So just adjust your volumes accordingly. So thank you guys for listening to that. So the point of this video, I'm going to get into the other bill that or act or whatever it's called that Ron DeSantis signed against Disney and other situations. But I just want to explain the side that Ron DeSantis, people like Chris, explained very thoroughly, and why I feel this way as well. So it's easy for me to defend. And then we're going to talk about the other side, because I just want to be honest. But we can't have a real conversation if everybody's just framing it. Don't say gay. Oh my God, they're racist. You can't. The point that we're trying to get to, Kanye West feels this way. A lot of people feel this way. When a kid is young, they're malleable, okay? They only know what you teach them, right? I know English because my parents taught me English. If my parents spoke Russian or Spanish or Chinese, then I would speak that. So kids are literally being molded by their teachers, their parents. And now there's a conversation to be had about, when do you teach kids certain things, or what do you teach them? For me, and this is something that I critique on left wing and right wing that really changed my life that I didn't learn in school. First of all, they don't really teach finances that much. That's something that Ron DeSantis, I believe, is also working into high schools, like teaching kids financial stuff, important, but also really gratefulness and appreciation. I think gratefulness and appreciation changed my life in my 20s more than almost anything I've ever learned, but it's not really taught in schools. So when you're especially a young kid, let's go to like elementary school, kindergarten, if you're being taught about race in this way where it's like, you're black, you're white, Kanye West can't stand that, because he's like, stop talking about Black History Month. Let's talk about Black Future Month. What if we're learning about all these Black innovators and great, amazing Black people and filling the kids' heads with all this awesome stuff versus, of course, you have to teach history at a certain point, but instead of just being like, you're Black, you're oppressed, you're white, you're bad, you're gay, you're special, you're not gay, you're this. Now there's so many more kids being gay. I don't believe it's natural. I believe they're being told this at such a young age, and they don't even know who they are. I thought I was a Power Ranger. I wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to study dinosaur bones. You're so young, you don't know what the world is like at all. I mean, you're talking about like 5, 6, 7. So if you're pumping this stuff into kids' heads, it's going to change them. It's going to change them sexually. I would argue it's not good to even talk about sexuality at all to a kid until they're a certain age. But these are the conversations that conservatives and Republicans are trying to have and be like, you're doing too much at a young age. You're doing too much of this race talk, and it affects somebody. If you're not grateful and appreciative and you don't grow up, like, for instance, if I thought the world hates me, this and that affects your psyche, and your psyche affects how you're able to perform. Most great people, whether they be Black or white athletes, someone like David Goggins, who's Black, but he's just such a mental giant, you know what I'm saying? Such an inspiration. If he just felt bad for himself all the time, he would never be so great. This is like how you keep white and black people down. So, I just want to get that out there. It's just this mindset that the left wing is pumping onto the kids that is just so toxic and so dangerous. And it's just going further, 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 further. And the further they slide towards insanity, the further they slide away from what I would consider classical liberal. 10 years ago, I didn't even think about gay, straight, none of this mattered to me. I was like, do whatever you want. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. They're actually turning millions of people right wing and Republican, conservative, making them more Christian, which I guess could be considered a good thing. But they're going so far that it's just weirding out normal liberals, and it's turning people that are classic Democrats into Republicans. So, it's almost like they're purposely losing or something, but, in the process, abusing kids and just being weirdos. So I guess the point that I'm trying to get to is, if you're going to slide further into something that was considered immoral from both parties 15 years ago, even Obama was against gay marriage. California voted down gay marriage. This was not a popular opinion. I'm talking about gay marriage, let alone the sexualization and like the pumping gay and race into children. This was considered unpopular in both parties for the longest time. So all I'm asking, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with Ron DeSantis. You could think it's better for kids. But all I ask is, you're taking something that's been unpopular and is still unpopular and acting as if nobody can have an alternate opinion. This is what's so frustrating. As I get into the next thing that Ron DeSantis signed, this is the most frustrating thing about the left. The further they slide into insanity, the further they slide into immorality, the less they want to talk about it, the less they want to discuss it, the more they want to censor. I know people that are left wing, they're like, we need to censor disinformation. And it's like, sure, but what happens when MSNBC posts disinformation? What happens when CNN posts disinformation? What happens when Joe Biden posts disinformation? Now all of a sudden we have the sleepiest, most confused president we've ever had. And now all of a sudden, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton are coming out of the woodworks. Oh, misinformation. We need to censor more. As much as you could blame, conspiracy theorists and you can blame internet creators, I could look at the Democratic Party and say, as somebody that probably, I can't remember if I voted for Obama or not when I was younger. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But as somebody who used to probably lean towards your side, look at yourself. You know what I'm saying? Joe Biden's the best you can do. You have 300 something million people in this country, and you give us Joe Biden, and now you want to censor people who disagree with things that he's pushing. Anybody with half a brain needs to realize the more corrupt and incompetent they get, the more they want to censor opposition because, it's not convenient for them. They can't win in a free market of ideas and conversations. So that's what I pray. I don't know who listens to me anymore. I would guess my audience skews a majority right wing, but maybe not. I've heard I have a lot of Muslims who listen, obviously a lot of Christians, some Jews. I don't know who listens to me anymore, but I would think that as far as, people that lean right, I would probably be one of the most tolerable people for a left winger to listen to if they were to listen. So this is my message before I get into the next part. You don't have to agree with me on what to teach to kids racially and LGBT wise, but you have to understand everything that the left is doing now is not only unpopular among parents today, but it's like wildly unpopular for most of human history. And if you're going to go into something that's unpopular today and was always unpopular, the least you could do is stop lying and screaming, don't say gay and racist and homophobe, and have a real conversation about why parents feel this way, because mindset is not only important to me, not only important to children, it's really like near and dear to me because I know why I'm successful. It's not just because I think I'm so great. I work really hard, of course, persistence, but my gratefulness and appreciation for the world, for life, is what really took me from here to here. And without that gratefulness and appreciation, I wouldn't be here. So you're pumping the opposite of gratefulness and appreciation into children and turning white against black, black against white, making black feel bad, making white feel bad, making men feel like women. It's so evil what they're doing. And I just pray that, honest left wingers, regardless of what you feel about the L's, the G's, the B's, the T's, the Q's, and the 50 million other letters that you're probably going to invent because 1 + 1 is 5 and the dictionary doesn't exist and it's racist or whatever, at least just have a conversation about it and listen to the opposing side, because the media and the left-wing activists, which are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're getting ratioed every day, they're not being honest about why Ron DeSantis is doing this type of stuff. Disney is not the same Disney they were 10 years ago. Left-wingers are not the same left-wingers they are 10 years ago. They keep going further, younger. And something went from, we just want to get married. And it's like, well, okay. And then it's like, well, now we want your 5-year-old to be gay. And it's like, well, and I'm not saying every gay person's doing that because it's not true. I'm just saying it's like, this is a huge escalation. And the fact that you're trying to censor and quash opposition of it is just absolutely wild. All right, let's get into what the Disney actual bill is, because it's going to take a while, but I have a CBS article. Disney's losing some sort of government. It's crazy that they had their own government. I don't really understand how this works, but let's read the whole article. Give me a few minutes. All right. So this is CBS News. They said Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signs bill that strips Disney of special tax status after company criticized Don't Say Gay law. It's not called that, but the media keeps calling it that. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on Friday signed a bill to dissolve Walt Disney World's private government after the entertainment giant opposed a new state law critics have dubbed Don't Say Gay. Not what it's called, but whatever. The law would eliminate the Reedy Creek Improvement District, as the 55-year-old Disney government is known, as well as a handful of other similar districts by June 2023. The measure does allow for the districts to be reestablished, leaving an avenue to renegotiate its future. The move could have huge tax implications for Disney, and a lot of critics, left-wing and right-wing, are talking about how much taxes that might cost. We'll talk about it later. For DeSantis, the attack on Disney is his latest salvo in a culture war waged over policies involving race, gender, and the coronavirus, battles that have made him one of the most popular GOP politicians in the country and a likely 2024 presidential candidate. The dispute with the companies began with Disney's criticism of a new law barring instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity in kindergarten through third grade, as well as the instruction that it is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate. In March, Disney said it would suspend political donations in the state and added that it would turn support organizations working to oppose the new law. DeSantis and his fellow Republicans then lashed out at Disney and have defended the law as reasonable. At the bill signing ceremony Friday, DeSantis said Disney lied about the content of the education law, but he viewed the company's vow to fight the law as unacceptable. You're a corporation based in Burbank, California, DeSantis said, and you're going to marshal your economic might to attack the parents of my state. We view that as a provocation, and we're going to fight back against that, DeSantis said. So this just shows you, I mean, reading that bill, I'm blown away. As somebody that, you know, I would say I have views of my own, but I am tolerant to other ideas, and I'm a pretty like thoughtful, compassionate person. Like the fact that the left wing is lying about this just makes me think that they've like morally lost it. So the bill, the Don't Say Gay bill, if you're just one of these people that follows the media, oh, don't say gay, he hates gays, he hates gays. That's not at all what the bill says. That's like the brainwashy corporate, let's, you know, if everybody says it, Jimmy Kimmel, Colbert, you know, just keep repeating it, keep repeating it. That's called propaganda. You just say it over and over and over until people walk around like zombies saying, don't say gay. It's not even in the bill. It's not the name of the bill. The bill is saying don't teach gender identity to like kindergarteners. I mean, at a certain point, you're just child abusers. If you can't understand why maybe you shouldn't teach somebody in kindergarten gender identity, I mean, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? I'm telling people, like, I literally thought I was 17 different things when I was in kindergarten. If people like left wingers would have came to me and said, you know, you're a girl, you know, maybe I would have believed them. I'm not a girl. You know what I'm saying? I grew up, I'm a man. I have testosterone. You get what I'm saying? Like, what if I would have taken hormones? This is what they're pushing on the kids. Like, you're a girl, you're a girl, you're a girl. Maybe you believe them. You know, 50% of the class is like, okay, I mean, I guess if my teacher said, you don't know. I only spoke English when I was in kindergarten because my parents did. If they would have spoke Spanish, I would have spoke Spanish. That's what kids are. They're sponges. So you're teaching this little sponge, you're the opposite sex. Now they believe it. What if then you take hormones and your body is, you know, altered for the rest of your life? I mean, kindergarten, you guys can't lay off until like middle school or high school. I mean, what the hell is wrong with left wingers? It's absolutely bat-s insane. So, you know, without arguing their side of the equation, I just want to get to the side that Ron DeSantis, myself, and millions of parents and people are thinking. It's just like, we can get to the gay topic for adults at a different time, but, you know, we're focusing on the children. And if you can't figure that out or you're lying about it, I mean, God have mercy on your tainted soul, because it's a very basic conversation outside of just the mindset of children, the sexualization and the gender, you know, manipulating of kindergarteners. You can't figure out why that might be an issue to at least, even if you disagree with me, come to the table and have a debate about it, just instead of falsely smearing it as an anti-gay bill. It's just outrageously disgusting. And, you know, I'm not even a parent. I understand why parents are upset. I understand why Youngkin won in Virginia. I mean, if this is going to be the modern day left wing, be prepared to get absolutely destroyed in November, because you guys are not only lost mentally, but you're losing politically. With that being said, tax exemption status from Disney, that's DeSantis's way of being like, listen, if you're going to take, and there are Republicans and Democrats. I saw Jenna Ellis, Trump's lawyer for the January 6th thing or whatever. She has really spoken out against it and said, I will represent Disney in court. I was shocking, but I guess her take on it was, you shouldn't be taking things away, using the government to take away things from companies that use their First Amendment right to disagree with you. I guess I get what she's saying. That's her kind of take on it. She sides with Disney as a Republican and a conservative, saying they have the First Amendment right. I get what she's saying, but I guess it really, I don't know where do you draw the line at a society? Like, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not try to invert like 3-year-olds. I mean, I know that's not literally one of the biblical things, but I'm just saying it's like, I mean, you're letting a company with billions of dollars just try to subvert the law and I don't know. I mean, I'll just give you the other perspective. I guess I see it from both sides, but there are Republicans fighting on behalf of Disney. I mean, I don't know. What do you do when the left-wing culture is just taking over? Let me know in the comment section what you think. Do you think the government and DeSantis should stay out of it and that the people should handle it, or he's totally right to take away their secret government exemption status? I don't know. I'm not even going to lie. I mean, what is a secret? They have their own government. That's kind of just crazy in the first place, but I don't really have a huge opinion on it. But with the children's stuff, I absolutely have a huge opinion. On Disney, I think they're a total degenerate company, and what they're doing is not normal. It wasn't what they were doing 5 years ago, and they should understand why people disagree with it. That's my take. We'll get into it. I'll put some of your stuff on the stage in a second. I just want to show you one thing real quick that went super viral. I didn't mean for it to go viral, seriously, but it did. I just said this. I said, why can't we get married? Turned into, why can't we try to make your 5-year-old gay, dress him up in woman's clothing, and pump hormones into his body really fast? I didn't even think that would go that viral, but I'm almost like, damn, sometimes I don't want that much attention towards me, but I'm like, I mean, it's true. The slippery slope is clearly real. And I'm not blaming everybody who's gay for that. I'm just saying, like, literally, it's like, can we get married? And people are like, I mean, it wasn't even really that popular then, but it's like, whatever, not whatever. And now it's like, can we just like pump hormones in your kids and tell them that it's like, I don't know. Like, you guys don't have any self-awareness at all. Like, maybe that's not the right thing to do. I don't know. Real quick, I want to segue to one more story, and then I absolutely will get to your comments, and I'm going to put a bunch on the screen. So anything you guys say, just letting you know, I'll put it on the screen. So there's a lot of Russian athletes being banned right now. There's boxers that can't box. There's tennis players that can't play. I'm not going to use the word genocide because that's an exaggeration, I believe, but I'm trying to figure out what the word would be to culturally completely erase a group of people because their government's corrupt. That would be like trying to, and by the way, folks, for anybody that thinks this is just brand new because of the invasion of Ukraine, look at the Olympics. They've been erasing Russia from the Olympics for years now. They had some sort of other name for it. I'm not saying Russia's perfect or doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying they've been trying to culturally erase Russia for like 7 years now. This is not like a new thing that just happened when Russia invaded, but they are going further. And now, I mean, are we going to ban Saudi Arabian athletes, Chinese athletes? Can they ban American athletes because George Bush, dropped a bomb, and Obama and Trump dropped bombs and drone strikes? I mean, where does this draw the line? To me, this is so immoral and so disgusting. And as somebody who loves my country and likes to think that we should be moral, this is so obviously clear that the West, you think Trudeau, Boris Johnson, and Joe Biden, who just finished locking down their people, they have the moral high ground over Putin and, Lukashenko, now that they're banning athletes who, for the crime of having a government that's corrupt. I mean, this is disgusting. But Billie Jean King, probably one of the most famous tennis legends in history, came out recently. I'm going to read it. And she said pretty much what I'm saying. It's insane to hold Russian male and female tennis players out of competition. I mean, this is like, I'm not going to use the G word, but this is like cultural absolute erasure. They're trying to erase history, sports. I mean, this is an evil, evil thing that the West is doing. But the people that are like, I agree with you, Anomaly, but I have 5 Ukraine flags in my bio. I'm not saying you can't like Ukraine. It's just like the same people trying to erase you, the same people trying to erase your entire political party, the same people trying to erase your entire religion, the same people trying to erase your entire constitution are also erasing a foreign country. And as soon as you guys are dancing with the Ukraine flags in your bio because you're watching Sean Hannity or something, as soon as they're done doing that and erasing Russia and Belarus, they're going to turn right back to you. They're already on you. So, I'm not saying that we're Russia. I'm not saying that you have to have sympathy for Putin or Lukashenko, but you should have sympathy for the hundreds of millions of people who have nothing to do with their corrupt government. And what comes around goes around. So if we can treat this many innocent citizens like garbage and dehumanize them just like they did to us during the coronavirus pandemic, what makes you think that what comes around doesn't go around and they're not going to do it to you? They are going to do it to you. They already did it to you from 2016 to 2022, and it's only going to get worse until we do what myself and Billie Jean King are doing and put our foot down and say how immoral this is. Let me read it real quick. So Billie Jean King said, my thoughts on the ban of Russian and Belarusian players from the competing in Wimbledon. She said, the decision of the LTA and the AELTC regarding the Russian and Belarusian players at this year's tournament was a difficult and complex undertaking, and I appreciate the challenges and pressures they are facing. One of the guiding principles of the founding of the WTA was that any girl in the world, if she was good enough, would have a place to compete. I stood by that in 1973, and I stand by that today. I cannot support the banning of individual athletes from any tournament simply because of their nationality. Tennis is stronger when we stand together, and our continued support of the Tennis Plays and for Peace initiative, which provides meaningful financial support and resources to Ukraine, needs to be our focus. I mean, people that have Ukraine flags in their bio are freaking out at me and saying, anomaly, we're being genocided. It's a genocide. And I'm like, listen, war is evil. I don't support any killing. That's not who I am. However, you're trying to make me believe that Ukraine is being genocided. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials are saying they're killing 5 times as many Russians as Russians are killing them. I don't know of very many genocides that have, the numbers reversed. And then also you're trying to culturally, historically, and literally just erase Russian and Belarusian people from society, from culture, from the Olympics, from sports, from history. I mean, hello, I don't know. I like to take the moral high ground, and I just think that's absolutely disgusting. I watch boxing, and whether it's and UFC, if it's a Chinese fighter, I watch Rose Namajunas beat the Chinese chick. I forget her name, but it's like I think China has an immoral. Someone said, "What is wrong with you?" What's wrong with you, Susan? I don't know what your problem is. Okay, I see. You got the Ukraine flag in your bio. Emotional women with the Ukraine flag in their bio are like unhinged. It's insane. A lot of propaganda in your head. But anyway, that's fine. God bless you. What I was saying is I watched Rose fight a Chinese fighter. I think what China's doing to their people in Shanghai is like one of the craziest human rights abuses of modern history. I'm not even going to talk about the Uyghur camps right now. Let's just talk about the Shanghai lockdowns. So am I going to try to ban every Chinese athlete from a sport? That's insane. I would never treat Yao Ming like garbage or Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba or whatever. I mean, come on, folks. Do you have a soul? Do you have a heart? So if we're going to do this to now, Russian boxers can't box, they can't play tennis. This is like an evil erasure of history. It's wild how emotional people get over this. War is evil. I don't really support any side of this war, but I don't have a choice. My taxpayer dollars are going to, the actor, producer, potential possible drug addict in Ukraine. Fact check that. Fact check. He's not a drug addict. He's never done a drug in his life. Whatever. So I mean, it's just crazy that that's going on. All right. Anyway, appreciate y'all. I'm going to put comments. Let me know what you think about the banning of Russian athletes. And also let me know what you think about what Ron DeSantis is doing. I'm going to bring up some of these things and we will see. Someone said, are those Shanghai lockdowns real? I hear what you're saying. I am very skeptical. I don't always trust the media. I do think there was a lot of exaggeration in their first initial COVID, reporting. But, I do think I've seen some reports of Americans that are there. I do think that they're somewhat real. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're lying to us and giving us like a false illusion. But, even though China has like a nationalist mentality, like, oh, we love China, they are godless communists. I don't support the godless communist national China, whatever they're doing, because they don't believe in God. They believe in communism, and, godless communism will fail. So I don't know why they're doing that, or if they're really doing that. You're free to question it, but I do think that it is real. And I think that godless communism ends in, it doesn't end in innovation or freedom or liberty or great societies. I think it ends kind of like it's ending in Shanghai, but it could be. Let's see what Earth to Rosita. What's up, Rosita? She said DeSantis is doing an amazing job. I mean, I don't want to take a jab at Trump right now, but it's like I feel like DeSantis is doing the opposite, not like everything the opposite, because Trump helped him get there, but like everything with Trump is this big drama, and there's like not that much. With DeSantis, there's a lot of drama, but it's like legislation every day. Every day he's got a new legislation. He's really pushing back. And maybe, to be fair, maybe it had to happen where Trump maybe was trying to be nice or something and didn't want to go too far. And then the left went too far. DeSantis gets in and says, all right, now we got to go the other way. So everything happens for a reason. But I do like the way DeSantis governs way better. It's a lot less dramatic. It's a lot less of a show, me, me, me. He's strictly about the people. He's pushing legislation. He's doing it. He's able to defend himself. I think he's a winner. Not everything he does is going to be right or perfect, but he's definitely a standout in the Republican Party. Someone said drug test for Zelensky. Exactly. It's like an athlete. You got to it's like if you're going to take billions of dollars of taxpayer money, I think we should get a drug test. But jokes aside, it's pretty funny. Let me see. Let me see this real quick. Barry said, leave athletes out of politics. They just have no say what our government does. Political leaders all over the world do what they want. I agree. Absolutely. And in America, Barry, this is how they treated. Okay, you have two options in 2016. Let's go to our country, right? You have Donald Trump, right? Or Hillary Clinton. Listen, as somebody who didn't even vote for Trump in 2016, I wasn't paying attention as much as I thought I was, or I guess I wasn't where I am now. But, Trump was a better option than Hillary Clinton in most people's opinion. So, you're going to demonize the way they treated Trump supporters. Oh, you're subhuman because you voted for Trump. What do you want me to vote for Hillary Clinton? Give me a break. So if you're Russian, you don't really have an option. First of all, Russia's Russia. It's more authoritarian than America in some cases, and some we're catching up. But he's also kind of the strongest leader over there. I'm not like a fanatic, but when it comes to the nation of Russia, it's the same with Belarus. Lukashenko is a wild guy, but he's just a strong leader. Same with like Xi Jinping. I don't like Xi Jinping, but if you're Chinese, you shouldn't be held responsible if you voted for him or didn't vote for him. You don't really have a choice, Hillary or Trump. If you're Russian, it's Putin or Putin. If you're Chinese, it's Xi Jinping or Xi Jinping. We're going to hold citizens accountable. That's how I know we're the evil side of this narrative. It doesn't mean that they're good. I'm just saying, like, no offense to that lady, but these women and men, but a lot of emotional women with Ukraine flags in their bios, no offense, but I'm seeing it like it's like unhinged. And it's like you might find out once you let your emotions subside that you're on the evil side of the narrative. It doesn't mean you can't go support them and work at a soup kitchen and try to stop the war. But if you look at the actions of Zelensky, if you look at the actions that corrupt Ukraine, if you look at the actions of NATO and the West, we are not the moral high ground. If we were, we wouldn't be banning hundreds of millions of people from competing in sports for the crime of being born in a country and being a nationality. We're the ones who are culturally erasing people right now. It's evil. So, just pay attention. You don't have to like Russia. You could support Ukraine in the war, but don't cry unhinged when I defend, innocent civilians, just like I would in Ukraine. I don't think innocent civilians should be hurt in Ukraine. It's, or penalized on a world scale. It's just so wicked. But people been really freaking out at me recently. It's like, I don't know what you're reading or where you're getting information, but I don't know. It's up to you. Someone said Florida is the gay capital of the USA. There's definitely some super gay places in Florida, but I would say, I don't know. You don't think San Francisco's gayer? Maybe not. Or West Hollywood's pretty gay. I don't know. You might be right. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate it. Someone said DeSantis is amazing. I agree. Someone said DeSantis is better than Trump. Easy. I strongly agree. I want to say something without taking too much of a shot. Like, there's this drama now about Trump and, Piers Morgan. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I might as well talk about it because I was going to do a whole video, but it's not worth it. So Trump goes on Piers Morgan. By the way, Piers Morgan, he's got a few good conservative takes, but Piers Morgan is like a Boris Johnson, right? He's 10% conservative, 90% establishment snake. Piers Morgan's not to be trusted. The BBC's not to be trusted. So I'm going to give you my take. And Trump is Trump, right? Trump is an icon, a legend. He's way more famous and powerful than me. But even for myself, I know I've gotten asked to do multiple documentaries. Okay. I've done one because I thoroughly vetted it. But, I was asked to do a documentary that was going to be pretty big. And I could tell that the documentary filmer was not going to portray me fairly. So I just didn't do it. And the other documentary, even though I'm 1/1000th of Trump when it comes to like famous and powerful, I negotiated in the contract, if I don't like my representation, I could take it out. Why did I do that? Because I know how the media operates and I'm savvy. I'm a great businessman. Trump is a way better businessman than me. I mean, Piers Morgan framed me out of context. It's like, did you learn nothing from your 6 years? You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of defending him on stuff that he can defend himself. If I can defend myself from a film and documentary and pick and choose what I'm doing, Trump, after 6 years of getting onslaught from the media, walks into a Piers Morgan interview and thinks he's going to get treated fairly. And now the whole drama is about him. And it's like, bro, DeSantis is signing bills for the people. You're selling vaccines, not talking about anything important. It's like, look at me, remember me. And it's like, I'm just tired of it. It's like, have a little bit of common sense. The media is wicked. I'll defend you 1,000 times out of 1,000 when they're doing immoral stuff. But why are you walking into the snake's den and complaining? It's like, just don't go, or, sign a contract or something. I do that. I'm not just going to walk into a CBS 60 Minutes interview and then cry that they took me out of context. Duh. It's almost like he's just like a big shit stirrer now. In 2016 to 2019, Trump was actually crushing it. He was not only a shit stirrer, but in the best way, right? Destroying the system, chopping it up, calling people what it was. But now it's just like the pros of that are almost non-existent. He's not pushing super hard against this cultural stuff that I really need. He says some good things, but it's just like, it just seems like this big tornado, like he's the Tasmanian devil, like, oh my God. It's like, bro, do something, do a 20-minute speech on mandates instead of a 10-minute speech about how your vaccine's the greatest thing ever. Do something for the people, like pull a Ron DeSantis. I just feel like, he's just getting goofier and goofier, and it's getting harder and harder to just defend him when he walks into the own trap. And it's like, why would you? I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Let me know what you think. Let's see. Someone said DeSantis 2024. I would vote for him over Trump, no doubt, no question. What's my take on Dr. Oz? Well, I have to say this. As a person, I know somebody in my like family, in my extended family, that knows Dr. Oz. Not like they're not best friends, but they were on his show, I think, or in the audience, and they've talked to him. He was apparently, and this is just like a firsthand take, as a human being, the person in my family that met Dr. Oz said he was really nice. He cared and actually referred her to a doctor. So as a person, as somebody in my family, we have a personal experience. He's been extremely nice as a person, as a doctor, and was very helpful and very authentic. As a politician, I don't really trust him. I mean, is he better than the other guy in Pennsylvania? I don't really know who else is running, but he seems like he supports red flag laws. I disagree with that. He seems very fair weathered. Like I don't believe he's really like that conservative. So I wouldn't trust him, I guess, but I don't know who's in the election. Is it him and somebody worse, or is there somebody better? I'm not really sure. So politically, I would say I did a whole video on it. If you go look at it, if you search, you can find my Dr. Oz video. I broke down his thoughts on red flag laws, and I don't know that he's going to be the most conservative in Washington. Probably not. So I don't know. I would say if I was in Pennsylvania, I probably wouldn't vote for him. I don't know who the other person is though. Someone said being nice don't pay his bills. Well, yeah, I mean, look at the options, I guess. I guess one of the guys is worse apparently, but I don't know. I'm not really sure. Someone said, do I think Republicans are waking up to the fact that Trump isn't what the country needs anymore? I guess it's hard to really read because I think most people aren't on Twitter and stuff. So in my sphere, I think, like I'll just say people that I follow, like Matt Walsh, and there's a lot of Cernovich. There's a lot of people that are tired of his like charade and just like his bad leadership over the last couple of years. But, as far as the people, I think Trump made a deep connection with people, and he'll be the front runner if he runs. But here's my thought process. If DeSantis and Trump ran against each other, like that would be a huge move. Maybe DeSantis moves out of the way because, Trump helped him get there. But I think if DeSantis ran, DeSantis could beat him. Absolutely. I think DeSantis could beat him. Anybody else would probably lose. Ted Cruz would probably lose. Rand Paul probably lose. I would vote for Rand Paul over Trump in the primaries, but I think DeSantis could actually beat him for sure. But we'll see if he runs or not. But anyone else is probably going to lose, in my opinion. But who knows? Let's see. Would I rather vote for Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, or Michelle Obama? I mean, I don't know Dr. Phil's politics. Probably if I had to choose out of those, I don't know. Dr. Oz, is Dr. Phil, does he have any stances? I don't know. Catch me outside, girl. Let's see. Let's see. Someone said Tim Tebow 2024. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to run, but that would be hilarious. Brian said he votes for Dr. Pepper. A little too much high fructose corn syrup for me, but Dr. Pepper is pretty wild. Let me see. Someone said Marjorie Taylor Greene is the only one speaking truth. She calls it like she sees it. This is the interesting thing with Trump too. It's like he's like Trump is like he's definitely an anomaly. He keeps a lot of bad advisors. He promotes people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but he's like, so that's why, in my opinion, Trump's still better than Biden because he still elevates people like Marjorie and others. Marjorie's not perfect in my perspective, but she's definitely looser than other people. And this is what the system does. Nobody's perfect. If you're not totally controllable, they just demonize the crap out of you. So, I don't think Trump is completely controllable at every angle. I just think Trump, this is my personal analysis. And this was really, and people don't have to want to hear this, but in 2020, it really exposed him, in my opinion, because it's not just the lockdown thing. You can just listen to somebody and see where their head's at. And I think someone like DeSantis, although once again, I don't agree with everything he's done, he started really speaking out for people, talking about it. And Trump kept talking about himself, his business deals. So I think Trump, his ego is too big. Even with DeSantis, this is my personal opinion, but I don't think Trump looks into DeSantis and says, oh, I understand why DeSantis is rising and almost as popular as me. It's because DeSantis is doing a better job than me. He's not as inflammatory. He's passing more legislation. He did a better job speaking out against coronavirus restrictions than I did. Like that would be a humility take to it. Even though Trump should be allowed to like himself more than DeSantis, if Trump had an ounce of humility, he'd look at DeSantis and understand why DeSantis is so popular. But if you listen to Trump in an interview, I just saw a Nelk Boys interview with him. Trump is such an egomaniac. He doesn't give DeSantis any credit. He says, I put him there. I'm the one who got him there. He would have never run without me. He was polling at 2%. It's like, that's just who Trump is, unfortunately. It's like he doesn't care, I don't think, about his supporters. I don't think he really cares about the restrictions. I think he cares about himself, his ego, his presentation. And I think it's his downfall. So, I don't think Trump is 100% controllable. I just think his ego and his humility makes him an ineffective leader in the end. It's like Tom Brady's a great leader because he's just super focused. Trump, to me, like first 3 quarters crushing it. Fourth quarter, I feel like Trump threw 40 interceptions and started playing for the other team, and he didn't even notice it. So it's like, I thought Trump was this like 5D chess player, but I realized he's just like a mental midget, in my opinion, when it comes to spiritual values and basic like humility and, like lowering your ego to be an effective leader. But that's just my opinion. I don't think he is who I thought he was. And I think over time you kind of learn who somebody is. But here's another thing, just to play devil's advocate. We don't know DeSantis's foreign policy, right? What's DeSantis's take on the war in Ukraine? Who knows? Trump, to his credit, he did a great job in Syria, did a great job in North Korea, did a decent job everywhere else. And I think even Trump's angle on Ukraine is actually better, even though he called it a genocide, whatever. I think Trump is also trying to make peace. I think he's like, why are you guys fighting? You need to come to the table. So here's the thing. Maybe Trump has better foreign policy than DeSantis. It's a different position as governor. We don't really know. Maybe DeSantis is like a neocon war hawk. I don't know. What do you guys think? I just know I think Trump even with all his downfalls, he definitely has a way better foreign policy than Biden for sure. So I don't know. We'll see. Someone said DeSantis would get a lot of more suburban women votes than Trump. For sure. DeSantis he would win way harder than Trump, I think, if that were the thing, but he might not run. I don't know. Someone said I voted for Rand Paul in the primary, extremely intelligent man. If Trump and if Rand Paul runs again, I'll vote for Rand Paul over Trump personally. If that's the two options. If DeSantis is in the mix, I'll have to think about it, but I support Rand Paul more than Trump at this point. Someone said DeSantis will pull the women's vote. I know women love them some DeSantis, and I actually really like Trump's humor. I'm not one of these critics that say, "Oh, Trump shouldn't have done this and that." I enjoy Trump's antics. I love comedy. I love intelligence. I thought Trump was hilarious. I never told Trump to settle down. I was never one of these, pundits saying, "Oh, Trump's doing too much. He's doing this and that." I thought it was amazing what Trump was doing. Saying that, now that we could identify that I'm not one of these people that says Trump shouldn't be funny. I loved his tweets. I thought they were epic. I still think he's the best tweeter ever. I think Trump's the #1 Twitter user of all time, which is crazy. That just shows where censorship goes. They're taking out the best, not the worst. But anyway, with that being said, in the last couple of years, I think Trump is acting like a doofus. This is not coming from someone that's like, "Oh, Trump's a doofus." To me, he was the greatest person in the world. Now I look at him and I watch how he carries himself and how he answers. He kind of acts like a doofus now, in my opinion, more so he did than a couple of years ago. So DeSantis doesn't act like a doofus. He doesn't bring problem. Like, you're going into Piers Morgan, you're going into a snake. You're not thinking about it. They're going to set you up. You're not even considering it. If you're Donald Trump, why don't you sign an agreement that says, "Hey, Piers, I'll go to your thing, but you got to let me do a podcast format where it's a live, 30 minutes live show. Like, you can't edit it out of context." I just feel like he's bringing more problems than necessary, where DeSantis doesn't do that. DeSantis is just like, he's hard to get. He's smart. He's young. He's not 80 years old. He's not an egomaniac like Trump. It doesn't seem like. He has humility. He's somewhat humble. He's not just all about himself, talking about crowd lines all the time. DeSantis, to me, is just like, and here's the thing. I could play a clip for you. I feel like Trump didn't learn why people like DeSantis. I feel like he just kind of looks at DeSantis like a threat and just takes credit instead of learning and being like, "Oh, that's why people like him." I'm going to play a clip. I have it real quick from the Nelk Boys. This got deleted, by the way. I do not support the censorship. The fact that Trump got censored is ridiculous. He should be back on Twitter. He should be back everywhere. I don't support that at all. But let me just show you the clip, because I'm going to save it and upload it. I can do it live. This is a pretty good little platform I'm using here. Tell me what you think of this. I saw this the other day and I was like, wow, he really just can't stop. All right, let's play the clip. Ready? Here it goes.
Right now.
So if it's not you, upcoming, who should it be?
Who do you like?
Well, we're going to see.
You like DeSantis?
I get along with him great. I was the one that got him started. He came and asked for a recommendation, an endorsement. He said, "If you give me an endorsement, I'll win." And I gave him an endorsement. He was at 3%. And after I endorsed him, he took a lead that was not a beatable lead.
So, I mean, I understand why, Trump is taking credit for it. It is true. I'm sure he helped DeSantis win. But it's like the reason they like DeSantis, I like DeSantis, millions of people like DeSantis, is because he was a bull against the tyranny. After the first couple months, he's been passing bills. So it's like, if someone asked me about Candace Owens, I've talked about it before. There was a point in my life where, I had given her a boost when I saw her video because I thought it was great. But anytime you hear me talk about that, I'm always giving her credit, talking about how amazing she's doing, loving the fact that she's talking about medical tyranny, saying she's a superstar. She could have made it on her own. That's just the type of person I am. It's like, I can properly identify history and say, yeah, we did connect at that point, and I did do that, and vice versa. But Trump's just not that type of person. He's like, I did it. I put him there. He was at 3%. It's like, what about all that? Do you care at all about what he's doing in Florida? Or are you just jealous? I don't think he's really that great of a person. I think he's just such an egomaniac. And it was really frustrating to me in 2020 because I'm locked in my house in April And he's out here just, it just seemed like he didn't care. And then DeSantis starts coming out, I'm coming out, and Trump just went on a 2-year vaccine sale tour binge. And someone posted in the comments, I said, well, it's a business. I know. I think he cares more about that business than he cares about me. And I don't think he thinks about people and what we're going through. I think he thinks about himself and his business dealings. So that's why he spent 2021 doing a Pfizer and Moderna sales tour instead of doing what DeSantis. That's why DeSantis went from here to here. DeSantis wasn't always as popular as Trump. It was 2021. DeSantis was making it his priority to fight leftism and also, fight the mandates and make it clear he cared about workers. He cared about nurses, doing 10-minute speeches, sticking it to the system. And Trump spent 2021 selling Pfizer shots and just saying, you can have your freedoms or whatever. It was pathetic in my opinion, but now it's like, instead of learning from that and being like, oh, there's a reason I got booed on Bill O'Reilly. There's a reason I got booed by Alabama. There's a reason why my supporters like Ron DeSantis. He hasn't picked up on any of that because he's so narcissistic. He's just like, I did it. Look at me. Piers Morgan. It's like, it's just getting goofy at this point, but it is, I'd still vote for him over Biden for, obvious reasons, but it's like, he's definitely not my choice in the primary. That's just my take. I don't know, but whatever. Someone said he is who he is. Yeah, no, for sure. We'll see. Let's see. Someone said, welcome to the Truman Show. Sometimes it does feel that way. Let's see. I put the wrong one on. It does feel like the Truman Show sometimes. Someone said Trump opened the door. I agree. Everything happens for a reason, right? It's kind of like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like as a basketball player, I love Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar kind of sucks now. It's kind of like Howard Stern. I used to like Howard Stern. Now I think Howard Stern's a piece of garbage. I don't think Trump's that bad, but at the same time, it's sad when you see some of your icons turn into just like wicked people. Like I love Steve Kerr. I think he's a great coach. He's a great player. Steve Kerr sucks. He's too far left for me. I just don't like him. Trump's not that far left or anything, but it's like, that's what it feels like to me, my hero and somebody that I looked up to just being a total disappointment, but it is what it is. That's just how I feel. Someone said Kareem was a ball hug. I mean, I didn't really watch the best. I wasn't alive when he played, but I'm just saying I respect the legends. I'm not going to be one of these new school people who's like, oh, I don't respect Bill Russell or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's like, you got to respect the legends. Trump's a legend. You got to respect Trump. I mean, but at the same time, it's just like, man, stop talking about yourself and do something. But it's all good. Someone said Biden will be declared unfit before 2024. Maybe. I don't know. Someone said you're totally right on Trump and why he's losing support. Yeah, I mean, it's just basic, like, it's the same with the left wing. I have to say this to the left wing. Right? They hate Sean Hannity. They hate Donald Trump. They hate Tucker Carlson. I'm sure some people hate me. The right wing, I want to say there's been more Republicans made in the last 6 years. It's not even right-wing recruitment that's turning left-wingers into right-wingers. It's actually the left wing. You know what I'm saying? The left wing has created more right-wingers than any right-wing organization, fringe or mainstream. The left-wing media, the intolerance from the media, the dishonesty from the late night shows, the cringe moments from the actors, that's what turned me from being more left to more right. It was them. It wasn't right-wing people. It wasn't just Donald Trump. It was how they reacted to Donald Trump. Donald Trump wasn't appealing to me at first until I heard him talk, and I was like, oh, he's kind of authentic. He's real. But it was the left-wing insanity that really drove me further right, because I'm like, I don't want to be near you guys. You guys are like psycho authoritarian weirdos. So in the same way the left wing has created more right-wingers than the right has, Trump is Donald Trump. There's nobody who can ruin Trump's legacy or Trump's popularity besides Trump. He's still, in my opinion, the most popular Republican, no question. But to me, I see in my own feed huge influencers like Matt Walsh and others and people that loved him that are just like, yeah, I don't, like most of my feed is like, I'd vote for him over Biden, but he went from like everybody's icon to like, yeah, I would vote for him over Biden, but he's kind of annoying now, but he's still better. It's like he's ruining his own popularity. He's still popular. He could still beat Biden. He still probably will if he runs. I'm just saying the only one that can really stop Trump is Trump when it comes to, his support on the right. So that's why I say this stuff. I'm not trying to hate on him too hard. It's just like, bro, wake up, Don Jr., talk to your dad. Having this little humility it's not helping him. It's not helping us. I want to see him as popular again, but it's really up to him. And the reason DeSantis has gone from here to here is not because Donald Trump helped them 4 years ago. It's because Trump has helped hundreds of people, and that's nice, but they're not all as popular as DeSantis. He helped Mitt Romney kind of win, but Mitt Romney's not as popular as DeSantis. DeSantis is popular because he's being a better leader. It's like that. It's like with me, you got to just, be like, hey, that's why that's happening. You can't just block it out and be like, it's whatever. Someone said proof. I don't know what proof you want. Let's see. Someone said, I'd love to see a DeSantis Owens ticket. I want to put that on the screen real quick. Hold on 1 second. It's interesting. Candace keeps saying if she says she's going to run for president and take Thomas Massie as a vice president. Listen, there's a lot of people who love Candace. I would say she's one of the most popular people in the Republican Party. But there's also a lot of people that question Candace and say, I don't trust her, this and that. I mean, the fact that Candace says she would choose Thomas Massie as her running mate kind of shows you where Candace's heart is at, in my opinion. Thomas Massie's one of the realest ones, and that's who Candace has said she would make her vice president. That's pretty cool. So, people can think what they want, but I think, I think her heart and mind is in the right place, and she seems like she might run one day. So, if she took Thomas Massie, that would be a better choice than I've seen anyone take. Let's see. Someone said Trump on his worst day is still better than what we have now. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. No doubt. That's. I'm not going to say a fact, but pretty much a fact in my opinion. Biden is a disaster. His foreign policy sucks. I agree Trump is better than that. Caitlyn Jenner for first woman president. I don't know if Caitlyn can pull it off. I mean, in only 2% of the vote or something, even in California. So if you can't win Cali, it's going to be tough to get the popular. But you're probably joking. Let's see, a few more, and then we'll take off. We'll keep this under an hour, I think. Let's see, one more, two more. Someone said Iraq is better. I agree. I would vote for Iraq over Joe Biden. Iraq wouldn't sign an executive order. Iraq wouldn't do a lot. Here's something interesting. I forgot about the Smith-Mundt Act. If you look it up, I think the Smith-Mundt Act was overturned by Obama, and it made like domestic propaganda legal again. I don't know the exact terminology of it, so I don't want to misquote it, but the Smith-Mundt Act under Obama made propaganda essentially illegal. And then Trump was in office and he never overturned it. And now we're facing all this propaganda. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been there without the Smith-Mundt Act, but there's just certain things. You got 4 years in office. Like, in my opinion, just my opinion, DeSantis, right? It's like he's in office. He's not doing everything I want, but it's like he seems like he's maximizing his power and doing what he can do to do what he thinks is right for his people. With Trump, I feel like it was a big show. I feel like he didn't really, when it's all said and done, he definitely got judges in. He got 2 crappy Supreme Court justices in who are garbage, but better than a leftist, I guess, but not even better than George Bush's Clarence Thomas. But in general, it's like, there's certain things that's like, you could have reversed that. You could have pardoned Julian Assange. There's certain things he could have done to show me like, yeah, I really am who I said I was. And I'm going to use my position of power and do these things. I don't feel like Trump did that. I feel like he just goofed around and then set his own supporters up at the Capitol trying to do a Hail Mary with Mike Pence. And I feel like it's just like, I'm over it, but I get it. It's definitely better than Biden. I just hope that like Rand Paul or DeSantis can run and get Trump's backing or something. That would be my ideal thing, but who knows? Let's see. David said he had everyone in government against him. I agree. It's definitely not easy, but DeSantis doesn't have support from the media or some government, but he just does stuff anyway. So I get what you're saying, but there's power that he had. I mean, the pardon list, that has nothing to do with the government against you. Here's the tough truth. I feel like people just don't want to hear, but I don't think Trump is worse than Biden. I'd vote for him over Biden, but who I thought Trump was and who Trump really is, in my opinion, are 2 different people. So, when it comes to the pardon list, Trump is not infringed by government. He's just not who people think he is. He's not the guy he pretended he was, and he's showing that. But, if people don't want to believe that, it's time for round two. We'll figure it out one way or the other. But you know, there are absolutely certain things that government prevented him from doing. But when he had the power to do certain things, I feel like he didn't do them because I just don't think he is who I thought he was. But whatever. What's up, Phil from Massachusetts? Appreciate it. Thank you, Phil. Someone said they're all mysterious. It's a crazy world, politics. Let's see. Someone said Trump over Biden, but he turned against the people when COVID came. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I agree with that. Let's see. Someone said Biden is poop and you know it. I do know it. Biden poops his pants. Breaking. Biden just pooped his pants. Fact check. Biden didn't poop his pants. That's not pooping his pants. That's chocolate ice cream. Come on, fact check. Well, Biden would never poop his pants. He's young. He's smart. He's brave. And, if you see a poop stain by Joe Biden, he didn't poop his Pampers. He took the chocolate chip ice cream he likes and he stuck it behind him by mistake. He's not geriatric. He's not old. It's something that anyone could sit on chocolate, So just know that Biden never poops his pants. And I'm just kidding. But actually, I don't know if he poops his pants or not. I'm not, I don't want to know that. And I almost regret talking about it, but whatever. All right. Well, I'm glad some people are enjoying my take on it. All right. Oh, we got Taylor Swift here. Hey, Taylor, this is the real Taylor Swift. I can't believe the real Taylor Swift is here. We appreciate you, Taylor. Thanks for all the music you do. I mean, we don't appreciate your politics, though. You're trying to subvert Tennessee. It's a little weird. But besides that, we do appreciate some other stuff. All right, folks, I'm going to keep it somewhat short. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful weekend. I'm going to try to do a video on there's a bunch of food. I think Tucker Carlson actually covered it, which is awesome. There's a bunch of food I guess warehouses and food plants that are burning, getting hit by planes. It's very weird stuff, and I think it deserves to be covered more. Even though Tucker covered it, I think people got to talk about it more because something weird's going on. So I will be talking about the food plants. It's going to be the weekend. I mean, maybe too much information, but Tyson Fury's fighting tomorrow. I'm not promoted to say that. They didn't pay me. I like boxing. I like fighting. I like UFC. But this is a boxing match. I'm going to watch Tyson Fury. He's a Christian. He always shouts out Jesus, and he's a big Gypsy King. I'm going to watch that fight tomorrow, so I'm going to be a little busy. But have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself. And if you like this blue hat, I'm just showing you it's got a buckle on the back. It's got the USA there, the USA there. And they're pretty nice. They're pretty slick. They're at dreamrare.com or godblesshats.com. Check them out, folks. As always, this show, besides the ads run on Facebook or YouTube, I don't do promotions, etc., because I sell my own stuff. Thank you to everybody who's ever bought a hat. I hope you enjoy it. And also, it helps keep this show ad-free. Most people at my size, they're doing advertisements for like 10 different companies. I run my own company, and this is all I do. So thank you guys who support it. And real quick before I leave, if you want 2 secret podcasts, eventually 3, I'll just show you the link real quick that you can get it. I just got to go there. Let me see. It's patreon.com/rare talk. There's 2 secret podcasts with my friend. And that's what it is, folks. That's just another way to support. But you don't have to. Optional as always. Watching is enough. Sharing is more than enough. Commenting, even if you never share. That's great. I just like to plug these things, not to be annoying, but I don't have any advertisements. Some people get paid lots of money to promote other people's stuff. So I just promote my own. Appreciate y'all. Have a beautiful week, and I'll be back soon.